Hi, I'm here to talk to you about the power of growth mindset and grit. Over this next series of slides, you'll learn about growth mindset and grit, what they are, and the power of having them and using them in life and in the classroom. Growth mindset and grit are both powerful ways of looking at things. A lot of obstacles in people's lives can seem unachievable, and by using these two ways of thinking and approaching problems, anyone can have success. One of the leading researchers on growth mindset is Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck has done a lot of study and research behind the power of growth mindset, how having that can help you achieve things you didn't think were possible, as well as just a way of tackling and empowering learners moving forward. One of the ways that she addresses this is through what's growth or fixed mindset. In a growth mindset, learners or people address problems in a more positive and learning is an ongoing way thing, where with a fixed mindset, learners are not adaptable and change is very difficult. One of the leading researchers in grit is Angela Duckworth. She's done a lot of studies and looking into what helps to make people successful and how grit can help people to have success and continue success by what she calls to stick to itness. Now, the one thing with grit is we all have this expectation of the trajectory and how things should go. But we all know that reality and expectation are very different. Grit is one of those things that helps us realize that reality is different, but just because it's different doesn't make it hard. Now, as we adapt and move over to what it's like in the classroom, we all know that in a classroom, it's not the perfect situation. I'm a fourth grade teacher, and kids are not just this perfect little entity that move forward in things. This the same thing in the real world. In any classroom, kids are different. They have different needs. They come from different backgrounds. They have different understanding. They have different learning. They have different learning styles. There's so many different dynamics. So one of the best and biggest ways that kids can understand their true potential is through grit and a growth mindset. Sometimes it's hard on kids. It just is. If you look at this beautiful thing of learning, it can look just like this picture and be absolutely amazing. But then you think, oh, I've got to go through this too. And that can seem extremely daunting and very difficult, which is why we need to give kids opportunity. Now, a lot of times they see opportunity as problematic. If I feel stressed or I feel unsure, we don't want kids to experience that. And it's quite the opposite. Having struggle and having difficulty creates better understanding for when it later comes. Often I talk to kids about how do we practice to just shoot a basketball? Well, you practice over and over and over until you learn how to shoot it, how to maneuver the ball, and how to position your body. And the very same thing goes with growth mindset and grit. And the best way, just like with shooting a basketball, is to let kids practice. Practice makes perfect. And with growth mindset and grit, that practice needs to come in situations that you create in a controlled setting so that when they're in the real world and the setting's not as controlled, they can understand what to do. One of the first things that we can do for kids is by helping them to evaluate a situation or have self-awareness. Some kids, we have a tendency to go to a freak out moment. And establishing that, hey, this is a minor situation or a more extreme situation can help kids understand what to do next. Now, when it comes to growth mindset, one of the first things that we can help kids do is by just establishing and getting away from an I can't to an I can try. This helps kids to understand that their brain's is ability to grow, and that I can't just puts us into this place where I can try is like, well, if I make it, good. If not, I can keep trying. Another thing we can do is just by giving kids a chance to have reflection. Reflection is that natural tendency that we all do as learners, and sometimes kids don't have the understanding or experience to look back what went well, what didn't go well, and what can I do or the same or different next time. And when it comes to grit, one of the biggest things is with Angela Duckworth, what she talked about is finding purpose, and that creates a stick-to-itness. When kids or people have a purpose, it helps them stick to things. It helps them understand, hey, I'm doing this because of blank. And that finding purpose is very meaningful, as well as sometimes just sharing examples with kids of gritty people in the past. We've all heard the story of Michael Jordan, who got cut from his high school basketball team. He is one of the best of all time, and sharing examples with kids is a great way for them to not only see other people have shown grit too. Another thing that we can do to help kids understand what to do is having SMART goals. SMART goals are those goals that we can use to help us create a goal that is achievable. We can make it happen, and keeps goals in a set of what happens, what we can do next. The power of yet is that similar kind of thing to a SMART goal, but just because we haven't achieved something yet doesn't mean that we never will. That yet in there just kind of says, well, I can't tie my shoes, turns into I can't tie my shoes yet, which gives kids that next step. I thank you very much for listening to this, and I hope that you have a better understanding of growth mindset and what it can do for a learner, grit, and what it can do to help you stick to things, as well as a couple things that you can do to embrace both a growth mindset and grit. Thanks.